The tale unfolds in a residence in El Paso, a chilling scene where the police stumble upon lifeless bodies strewn about. Delving into the eerie setting, they notice a man seated in a chair making a sudden movement, raising his hand. Reacting swiftly, the officers aim their guns, only to realize that a chain controls his movement. As they storm into the room, the man, upon spotting the police, grabs a nearby kitchen knife and, in a horrifying act, severs his own hand. The grim reality emerges. 27 individuals have lost their lives in that house, each shot in the head. In a police station room, Officer Aiden encounters Xia, the lone survivor from this tragic incident. Xia, claiming to be from South America and having crossed the border illegally with a gang, recounts a harrowing story. He reveals that the deceased individuals were also illegal immigrants caught up in gang conflicts. Xia issues a warning. If he isn't allowed to leave within an hour and a half, something terrible will happen to everyone present. Aiden, skeptical, challenges Xia by showing him pictures of the victims and asking him to recognize them. Xia points to one photo, claiming to have seen that person's ghost. He then shares the story of Gustavo, a guy with a unique ability to see creatures from another world. Gustavo accidentally discovered that he could make others see these creatures using light and specific moves. Despite this strange skill, Gustavo excelled at solving Rubik's cubes. However, after an incident, his ability waned, making it challenging for him to pursue his passions. Gustavo, seeking understanding, reached out to a paranormal blogger, demonstrating his unusual technique. Yet after the blogger checked his house, they hastily departed without explanation. Gustavo's attempts at contact went unanswered, leaving him uneasy. Eventually, troubled by his altered condition, Gustavo decided to leave his grandma's old house. While competing in Japan, Gustavo found himself scribbling a letter to his sister when an unusual scent caught his attention. Surprised, he looked down to discover his fingers were injured, sending shivers down his spine. Despite the pain, he bravely reset his fingers. Driven by a mix of curiosity and fear, Gustavo decided to investigate and stumbled upon the creature still lingering nearby. Armed with a kitchen knife, he cautiously approached, only to find it lying motionless. Quick to snap several pictures on his phone, he sent them to his sister, documenting this strange encounter. Later, a familiar blogger silently returned to Gustavo's house. They headed to the second-floor corridor, where the blogger revealed an unsettling experience. During Gustavo's previous demonstration, they had witnessed their own deceased mother, despite her long-past state. The blogger theorized that Gustavo's movements inadvertently unlocked a passage between the underworld and the living world. Back in his room, Gustavo disclosed the motionless creature to the blogger. As the blogger investigated, lifting a corner of the blanket with an umbrella, they suddenly doubled over in pain, clutching the creature. It was then revealed that this entity was, in fact, the blogger's mother. Sensing something awry, Gustavo realized this wasn't the same entity he had encountered earlier. Enduring excruciating pain, he initiated a ritual in an attempt to send the creature back to its realm, recognizing that the current situation had taken a dark turn. Shaken by the disappearance of both the creature and the blogger, Gustavo was deeply disturbed. He left the room slowly, only to receive a call from his sister inquiring about the pictures he had sent. To his shock, she described the photos as showing him covered in blood beneath a table. Not their deceased father, as he had originally thought. Glancing back into the house, Gustavo spotted an identical version of himself moving toward him. Abruptly, the setting shifted, and everything rewound to the beginning. However, this time, Gustavo sported a malevolent grin. He replicated the actions for the delivery person, reliving the unsettling cycle. Despite the enthralling narrative, Officer Aiden couldn't shake the suspicion that Gustavo might be concealing something, or perhaps even fabricating the truth. The door swung open unexpectedly, and a police officer entered, informing Officer Aiden that they had identified several identities from Xia's photos. These individuals exhibited a notable age difference of more than 10 years. Adding to the enigma, one of them was presumed dead in a car accident back in 1997. Perplexed and fascinated, Aiden, accompanied by a female police officer, returned to the interrogation room to probe Xia about his genuine identity. Xia dropped a bombshell, asserting to be an immortal being named Mater Hut. To support his claim, he displayed his unblemished palm. According to Xia, he was born in the Aztec Empire 542 years ago. He insisted on knowing about an unsolved case in the police station, a well-known one involving a victim whose blood was drained. Xia confidently declared knowledge of the killer's identity. On a spine-chilling Halloween night, a disturbing incident unfolded in the town. A sinister individual began using fresh blood from people's wrists, like it was fine wine. Yet one woman managed to survive. Attempting a discreet escape, she inadvertently attracted the attention of a vampire. As she sprinted away, the vampire promptly hypnotized her, uttering strange words such as, "Under my throne, my word is your command." Suddenly, a barking dog interrupted the scene. A man walking the dog mistook it all for part of the Halloween festivities. Regrettably, the vampire fully drained the woman's blood. In the midst of this chilling moment, the vampire received an unexpected phone call, intensifying the mystery. Answering the call from its relative Mary, the vampire was reminded that daylight saving time meant dawn was just 15 minutes away. In a state of panic and unable to drive or recall how to transform, the vampire imprudently tried to command Mary to pick it up, only to infuriate her, resulting in an abrupt hang-up. With desperation mounting and options dwindling, the vampire endeavored to transform into a bat, but encountered repeated failures. Frustrated, it seized a passing commuter car, relishing the wind on its face while riding hands-free. Suddenly, children on the roadside pelted the vampire with eggs, stoking its anger. The pursuit continued until it reached a dead end, forcing it to halt. In a dramatic twist, a boy recognized the creature's true identity and thrust a wooden stake into its heart, sealing the vampire's demise. 2 police officers stumbled upon the scene, rushing to comprehend the situation. Tension hung in the air, but the officers dismissed it as a Halloween prank. One officer even posed for a photo with the presumed prop, assuming the blood on its hands was merely syrup. Intriguingly, the officer took a sip of the blood and sensed something awry. The weakened vampire, still desperate, hastily hypnotized one of the officers. However, it struggled, limited to controlling only one person at a time, plunging the scene into chaos. In a desperate attempt to evade capture, the vampire fled for its life, grappling with its inherent limitations. Cornered and in a state of desperation, the vampire grasped the wooden stake, but the police swiftly combed the area, leaving it no choice but to seek refuge in a nearby building. Much to its chagrin, that building turned out to be a church. As it darted outside, the vampire unintentionally ignited in flames, prompting the police to pursue with unwavering determination. With no viable options left, the vampire called upon Mary for assistance. She arrived just in the nick of time, but their escape in the car encountered a hitch. A traffic jam obstructed their path. Forced to abandon the vehicle, they fled on foot, fully aware that sunrise was imminent. In a quest for shelter, they hid inside a garbage bin, yet the creeping sunlight infiltrated through the cracks, sealing their fate. In their final moments, they relinquished animosity, embracing a tragic destiny as a genuine ghostly couple, releasing their grudges as the sun claimed them. The following day, a man disposed of trash and stumbled upon what he perceived as Halloween props, unaware that they were, in fact, the corpses of the vampire and Mary. Simultaneously, the female police officer discovered a talisman among Xia's belongings. Within the items, a bottle containing blood seized their attention. Xia elucidated that he acquired it from a shaman in Mexico, in a mystical location on a farm. In Mexico, a jittery man strolled along a road with a horse. Strange screeching sounds startled him from behind, prompting him to reach for a knife on the horse's back. However, upon turning back, nothing was there. Guiding the horse back to his home, he removed a body from the horse's back and dragged it inside. Unbeknownst to him, someone nearby glared at him with malevolent intent. While cleaning his blood-stained hands, Ramon retrieves a gun, his weariness palpable as he fixates on the door. Abruptly, his phone rings, an American agent on the line. Identifying himself as Ramon, he recounts the brutal slaying of his family and agrees to collaborate with the CIA to overthrow the local political leader. Ramon's condition is safe evacuation from Mexico, scheduled for the following day at 6 a.m. Feeling somewhat secure, Ramon is startled as a figure appears outside his window. Investigating cautiously, he remains unaware of a menacing growl behind him. Covering his ears, he steps outside, finding no one there. But his guard drops too soon. A man reappears, and several imposing figures rush out, rendering Ramon unconscious as his consciousness fades into darkness. Bound and surrounded by mud-covered men, Ramon awakens to a female priest holding leaves. To his shock, they are the ancient Navajo tribe, devout followers of Mother Earth. Ramon had once sought their assistance for revenge, but his request had been denied. In a fit of rage, he had killed the Navajo people, attempting to gain power from their blood to curse his enemies. Now the priestess approaches, chanting loudly in an ancient and mystical ritual. Mysterious powers from Mother Earth manifest in her, and Ramon pays the price with his own blood. Inside his house, Numerous cursed props for witchcraft are on display. Desperate to curse his enemies at the expense of Navajo lives, Ramon is haunted by the priestess's mournful chants, lamenting the loss of their fallen tribe members. The female police officer, skeptical of Gosha's claims, picks up a bullet and questions its significance. Gosha asserts it's a holy bullet capable of eliminating both saints and sinners, mentioning the matching gun has been lost for a considerable time. He reveals a past deal with the god of death, trading his own life for his wife and sons. But gripped by fear, he regretted it at the last moment. Consequently, the god of death relentlessly hunts him. As the female officer grapples with a headache induced by Gosha's words, she reaches for her medication and accidentally discovers the gun. When she shows Gosha a photo of the gun, confirming its match with the bullet, he grows annoyed. Nevertheless, Gosha delves into a tale of an unlucky man. Unexpectedly, Malcolm crosses paths with his ex-girlfriend at a restaurant after an extended period of no contact, their reunion marked by the mysterious deaths of their mutual friends. Each friend succumbs mysteriously, linked to an inadvertent recording of a clandestine ritual in Havana that attracts demonic retribution. Despite Malcolm's desperate attempts to erase the file and thwart the demon's designs, his efforts prove futile. Convinced that the demons aim to sow chaos by disseminating the recording globally, Malcolm recounts the deaths of their friends. Unbeknownst to him, the person before him, his girlfriend, is actually a demon in disguise, the zombie king of zombie. Sensing the ruse, Malcolm confronts the demon, grasping the shocking truth. With the facade dropped, the two attempt to maintain an uneasy peace, both aware of the perilous reality they now face. Amidst the chaos, a gunshot disrupts the air. In a desperate attempt, Malcolm fires at the demon to no avail. The zombie king remains impervious. Determined to extract the recording's location, the demon presses Malcolm, who staunchly refuses to yield. Their conflict escalates into a fierce battle within the restaurant. The demon sheds its disguise, revealing its terrifying true form. In the scuffle, the cassette tape supposedly containing the ritual falls out. The demon, excited at the prospect of summoning an army from hell, eagerly plays the tape, only to hear a rock song emanating from it. As the demon reels from this unexpected turn, it is abruptly knocked to the ground. Ordinary weapons prove futile against the unearthly entity, but Malcolm, wielding a sacred object, stands resolute against the otherworldly force. A week prior, Malcolm and his friend Jack visited a museum, seeking a weapon from a man named Mark to combat demons. Mark happened to possess just the thing they needed, an item acquired during his youth when he visited Zanzibar. During that visit, Mark successfully summoned the demon Papa, and their passionate connection led to an addiction, repeating the ritual 19 times in a row. However, their relationship soured, prompting Mark to take drastic action while Malcolm slept. He killed the demon, creating the Hammer of Sandbar. As Malcolm learned this shocking revelation, chaos unfolded. The demon, now possessing Jack, created a tumultuous scene. In a moment of necessity, Mark wielded the divine hammer, smashing Jack's head and transforming the weapon into Malcolm's tool. With the sacred weapon, Malcolm banished the zombie king, sending the demon back to hell and putting an end to the chaos. Although the situation seemed to be returning to normal, Malcolm found everyone in the restaurant dead before him. Subsequently, he was apprehended by the police, but later released without charges, narrating a strange story about surviving a gang shooting. As Gia concluded his story, he implored Aiden and the others to let him go. Suddenly, the lights started flickering, and a foreboding figure arrived, the god of death. A tall, imposing figure dressed in black, the god of death effortlessly entered the police station, sending shivers through the officers who attempted to intervene. The god of death seized a gun and callously ended the lives of those around, then turned the weapon on itself. Unexpectedly, after a serene gesture, the remaining people met the same fate. The god of death proceeded into the office, where those present fell under its chilling control. Aiden, recognizing the grave situation, implored Xia to act swiftly. The female police officer retrieved the gun and handed it to Xia. Armed, the police officers unleashed a barrage of bullets upon the god of death. In response, the deity revealed its true form, overpowering everyone with divine might and knocking them to the ground. In a crucial moment, Xia emerged with the gun, firing bullets to repel the god of death. Capitalizing on the opportunity, he turned and fled, fully aware that the threat wasn't yet vanquished. The looming specter of death persisted, and Xia understood that he had to escape within the next 90 minutes, or all would be lost. Hurrying away, Xia ventured into the unknown, the urgency of his escape hanging heavy in the air.